Welcome back, everybody. Today I'm going to be working on installing all new Weatherstrip on the 85 Corvette. Those of you just tuning in, I recently painted the car and removed a lot of the old Weatherstrip just for the paint prep process. Now that it's done, I'm going to install everything. So if you're looking for removal videos, I do have a video, a couple videos back of me removing everything off the car. But today we're mainly going to focus putting everything back together. So I bought a kit from Amazon. The link for this is in the description. And this is a full kit for a coupe. So this has everything we need to reseal the whole car. So besides that, I had painted some of the Weatherstrip mounting brackets here that went around like the back of the Targa and down the back of the windows. So I have those done, cleaned up. I'm gonna put those back on the car and then start installing all the new seals and just see how that goes. So we'll just get started now, putting that stuff back together and seeing how this stuff fits. This week's video is brought to you by LCOBMW. Shop our site for Corvette performance parts. We now have our new D.I.Y Cat Delete pipes back in stock, our new test pipes, and we now have a new version of our hose kit available. This is for 88 to 91. This includes a fitting that you can hook your hose directly up to the hose that's on your car on the firewall. So check out the link in the description or visit LCOBMW.com. All right, so I got everything out of the box laid out. So this is the piece that goes around the windshield, like that. Left and right door seals. This is for underside of the Targa top, left and right. And then this would be for around the car where the back of the windows go and the back of the Targa top go. And then this is the hatch trim. Okay, so this is the hatch seal here. And in the instructions, it states that this is larger than the factory GM seal, and to get a center line for the back and a center line for the hoop that goes towards the back of the car, like this will be where the gas lid door is, and this is obviously up at the top. And we're gonna do the same on the car side. Up top, we're gonna make a center line, and then down here, we're gonna make a center line by the gas door. And the trick is that we have to put that in first, and push it down on both sides, and then come over here, push this in, and then both sides, and then slowly work each corner down. So as of right now, what I did, since I didn't have an extra set of hands today, I just took the tape measure and I taped it there and I ran it all the way around to get my center line there. And then same concept for the back there. I just ran the tape measure down and got a center mark. So now I'm gonna go do this in the car and then I'll lay this in. All right, so I marked my halfway point here and then the one up there. So what I did was I just came inside here and took right where this little indentation is for the door from here to here, and then got my center line there. And then I did essentially the same thing back here, and right where the interior trim is, there's a split there. And that actually is the center mark, so you can use that as a reference. And I double checked it with this piece up here. I just took the center of that measurement and made a little mark there, but essentially that trim is the center there. All right, I'm getting ready to lay this in here. So I just kind of loosely put the back in here, and we have to pop off these struts here to get the seal, since it's one piece around it. So I'm essentially just gonna do one at a time, just a flathead screwdriver right up in here, and you pop this out like this. And then I'm gonna put this over like here, and then I'm just gonna hook this back in. Do the same on the other side. Gotta unhook the defroster grid too. All right, now I'm going to take this top centerpiece here, hook it up over here, All right, now I got that in, I'm gonna do the same thing over here. All right, I got this side worked in. I ended up kind of pushing this corner down first and then just walking everything kind of loosely around to push it in there because it seems like it's gonna hang out like a lot, like it's almost too big, but I was able to get everything kind of pushed in here. So I'm gonna do the same on the other side. If you see what I mean, it kind of gets bunched up like this here and then the same up here. But once you kind of push all this down in there and push it all up into securely, it fits in there. So don't be intimidated when it sticks up like this. That was my first thought, but the other side went in well. So I got this in, so there was kind of like a bump of excess over here, and I was kind of working it in and lifting this up as I slowly walked it around the back here, and then it worked its way in fine. So now I have everything seated all the way around. All right, so I just finished up the hatch. So the only issue I ran into was actually trying to shut the glass after the seal was in. So obviously it's a new seal, so it's a lot more fuller than the old one. So me actually trying to shut the glass was really, really hard. It was far away from the latch, and I ended up taking some WD-40 and just with a rag going around the whole seal and just making sure it was not getting caught up in the corners of the glass, like in here as I was trying to shut it. So I ended up getting it pretty close and just pushing really hard and latching it. That'll get easier as the seal compresses through time of it being shut. So I'm gonna leave that shut for a while, hoping that'll push that down. So other than that, not that bad, and it fit pretty good. Once I got the roof off, I just installed these pieces here, which hold the Weatherstrip in. I had pulled them off before I painted it, and they just had a lot of stuff gummed up in there. All the seal and the adhesive was in there. So I cleaned it all out, painted them. So now I'm gonna put the seals in the Targa roof. And there's just these two here, left and right. And then there's just this one screw here on the back ends of these. And these just pull out like this. You almost want to push this forward like that. It's out like that. Same thing, reverse order with a new one. Just tuck that in there like that, and then just add the screw. All right, now that I have the screw in here, it's not exactly seated down in the channel. This channel in here fits in there pretty tight. So I'm actually, it's kind of stretched out now. Now I'm just taking like a flat, smooth tool here, and I'm just gonna push and work it into the channel here, all the way down. All right, now on the underside, I'm also using this just to kind of push and seat the bottom part of the seal in there too. All right, now I'm gonna be working on this rear seal on the back of the roof. So I have it kind of laid out how it's supposed to lay in the channel. And what I'm gonna use is some of this Weatherstrip adhesive here. The link for this will be in the description too. And I'm going to use it in these gaps here on these brackets, just so when the water kind of runs down the back of the seal, it doesn't come underneath the seal here. So I'll put some there, and then I'll also put some underneath at the bottom of the bracket too. So just to show you how this is going to go in, there's like a channel here, and I'm going to kind of tuck it underneath in that bracket. And then the same thing I did with the Targa, I'm going to get like something flat and kind of push in this other piece along the channel on the outside here. And then same thing over the rest of the roof. I am going to be spraying WD-40 on these channels in here like I did with the Targa top. It just really helps to kind of slide in there and maneuver around just to seat in place better. Here's a zoomed in shot of what I'm doing. So I'm just kind of walking this around, tucking the back in, and then I'm just slowly pushing this in here to the front channel. Like that. It's actually going in pretty easily. All right, now that I got this all tucked in here, with the WD-40 in there, it helps if you have to pull this down. So this bottom piece, because this is where a screw goes in here to hold it in place, if it's a little tight up here, you're able to kind of pull it down a little bit and it slides in the channel easily. So you can put this in here. And there's one of these on each side. All right, now I'm gonna work on this windshield seal here. This is the only one I didn't take off during the paint because obviously there's no paint around the windshield. So you can see it's all cracked out there. So I'm gonna first start by taking off the 7mm screw that's down here, and I'm gonna start peeling all this stuff up. All right, starting down here, you can see there's these two push fasteners here. I pried those out, and just like all the rest of the stuff, this is like all glued in here and stuck to the channel. So you're just gonna have to slowly pull this out and then clean all the gunk out of the channel once you get the majority of the seal out. All right, so I have everything pulled out for the most part, but as you can see, there's all that stuff stuck in there. So it was the same with the back seal. So I'm just gonna keep this on the car, and I'm just gonna use my little pry tool here, and I'm just gonna slowly work all this crap out of here. It's probably gonna take a while, but just how it goes. All right, now I got most of the stuff off the big pieces. So I'm taking some 80 grit sandpaper here, and I gotta fold it up, and I'm going inside these channels and getting all the stuck stuff off, just so the new seal sits in there properly. Now I got everything cleaned up. I'm gonna start masking and prepping off this trim around here to paint. I'm gonna do it flat black like it was originally. So this is like the worst area for me. So I'm gonna sand this down. I'm gonna start maybe with some 400, see how that goes. But the rest of the stuff is just fine, nothing's flaking off. So I'm just gonna hit that with a scuff pad, like a gray scuff pad or a red scuff pad, just to kind of rough that up so the paint sticks to it. And then I'll tape off everything. Okay, so I got everything taped off now and got the car covered so I don't get any overspray on it. I have some self-etching primer here that I'm gonna just spray on all this exposed metal area before I paint it. All right, now the primer's dry, I'm just gonna hit it with some flat black. Now I got the trim all painted here. I'm gonna lay out the weather stripping for the top, and I'm going to use the Weatherstrip adhesive all in this point in here. And then the same thing, I'll add some down here as well. All right, so same concept before. I did put some WD-40 lightly on here and in this channel, and I'm gonna tuck this down. I'm gonna make sure I line these holes up down here to the ones on the car, and I'm gonna put it in here, tuck it down to that part of the channel, and then push in on the top part. So I just got this side installed. So just a couple little things that I ran into. So I ended up kind of starting up top here, and this little plastic pin, make sure you keep these from your old Weatherstrip because the new stuff does not come with these. I end up using a small Phillips screwdriver to align the hole and then push the pin in, get this started, and then got most of this tucked in. And then when I went to align these holes down here, they were a little off, so I ended up using screws instead of those push pins because this piece was a little misshapen, where when I pushed one in, the other one popped out, so it almost needed to be kind of squeezed down like this to kind of fit the profile of the A-pillar here. So I ended up just using the like GM 7mm screws there and there to hold it in place, and then I just used some more Weatherstrip adhesive to kind of make up for that little gap in there. And then I tucked back all the excess back up in here like that. So now I'm just going to go along the roof line here and do the same on the other side. So one more thing I ended up doing, there's a Phillips head screw in here holding this like seal piece here. I took this out and pulled this down to make sure it would tuck up in there like that. All right, so now that I'm getting to the other side here, I left a bunch of this up, and I'm focusing on getting this corner set. So I put the Weatherstrip adhesive underneath, I lined up this hole, and now I'm going to start from inside here, tuck all this in this way, and then the same thing here. And at that point, I'll pull this out and put my little pin in there. And now you can see, even with all that excess up there, you can kind of work it in so where it flattens out. Alright, so that'll do it for today's video. So all in all, it went pretty well. My opinion about the aftermarket Weatherstrip opposed to the OEM stuff is that it's kind of, you get what you pay for. It is a little bit thicker and kind of harder to work with, but all in all, it actually worked out pretty well. It was hard to shut the hatch. It was really hard to get the roof back on. That took me a while to actually compress everything, and I ended up having to take the Targa roof seals and kind of redo those a little bit and kind of move them around because they were so thick that, I mean, it didn't even come close to the rear mounting bolts to the car. That was like a good inch away. So I had to really kind of work on that and push that down and compress that just to get the roof back on it. Obviously that stuff will compress through time and weather and stuff like that, and leaving the roof on it. But all in all, I mean, for the money, I think it's actually really not bad at all. So I don't really have the best way to tell because my car stays inside all the time, but at least it looks so much nicer than that old crusty stuff. So next week we're gonna get to the door seals and like the reveal molding, so we'll get to that. So if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. Thanks for watching.